Hello, everybody, and welcome to my house. This whole setup of vegetable and tomato and knife and all is very feminine, no? And as in, see, when I will go to the kitchen, I will not expect your dada to come and help me, na. So when your dada goes to the kitchen on a Sunday or something, then he will make all nice Bengali dish, okay? But that is like, it's a festival, you know. So I don't like Dada doing any of the feminine works, because his work is to go out and earn money, and in the kitchen, say if I have to do jharu and all, that is women's work. But today I have somebody with me in my house. His name is Deepak, and he loves all kitchen works. So let's welcome Deepak. Thank you,
Hi.
Deepak, for coming to my house. So as you can see, this is all very feminine work. Uh, do you actually like going to the kitchen and cooking?
I like doing jhadu actually. It's really one of my most favorite things because
Jha-
that joy that I get out of cleaning, sweeping, and collecting the waste, and then just I don't know. There's something about it, and I don't really see it as feminine at all. And kitchen, of course, is like, I mean, I was feeling a little like this is a very familiar space in some ways. Like, but of course, I haven't sat like this at a counter, but cutting vegetables, which is also quite interesting. Usually, you stand and chop and talk and
Yes, no,
interact.
my leg is paining
Yeah,
very badly, and
that's
also
fine.
because of the camera. But the standing, sitting, and all, no, it is very difficult. But you tell me, is this a very Sunday activity for you?
It's not really a Sunday activity. I mean, as a child, I feel like I was not as a child, but maybe towards my early adolescence, and also, yeah, just before I entered adolescence, like with my mother and grandmother, or if I was visiting my aunts, I found the kitchen to be quite a inviting space. And I don't know if it was conscious or subconscious or unconscious, but I would always find myself chatting with the women and just being in that space. Um, it wasn't just about cooking. It was about being in the space, and as a male, as a boy, or as a young adolescent, whatever. It's not like usually people don't find it very comfortable to be there. Like my cousins would find it very uncomfortable, or not very uncomfortable, but it wasn't really a space they would uh, kind of hang out in.
See, how can kitchen be a fascinating place? Because oh God, it is. There is no AC, nothing, and I am all alone in the kitchen. No cook also, but it is fascinating for you,
Yeah, it is.
and for a man.
I think it is fascinating for a lot of men, but maybe they have a little bit of fear, or as young boys, they're told not to. Uh, I mean, they get this message. It's not that they're directly told uh, not to be here, but maybe they feel that it's a part of developing your masculinity, that the kitchen would bring in some, contaminate it somehow. It's the first step I think people stay away from.
But the moment we talk about men, the whole concept, no, of Indian society is that they will be going out, earning. They will not go to the kitchen. So they will go to the kitchen only to make, say, it is a festival, or they are free, or according to their moods.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Then they will go and cook. So when was the first time you went to the kitchen and you felt that you should go to the kitchen, and then?
Hmm. See, one of the things I think my mother, she wasn't really a kitchen person, and I could somehow sense that, like she didn't enjoy cooking. It wasn't something that, and neither did my dad expect her to cook all the time. But because she was the wife and it was in the 80s, like, and he went to work, she didn't. She would cook something, but somehow I felt that her food was okay. She wasn't so interested in making food, so it wasn't the best. Of course, a lot of other people loved her food, and maybe it was just the boredom of us having eaten her food too often. But I felt it came from that space, so I somehow started feeling that there are there are maybe women in my circle, my grandmother, mother, aunts, who don't enjoy this as much. But there was some kind of draw for me. Like I thought maybe it is a space where so much is happening through the day. The women are making food, and then there's of course there's no eating there, because in the urban household you have the kitchen, which is like a sterile space. So you make all the food, you make all the mess, and then you kind of take it all out and serve it in another space. But somehow I felt like, why not do it here? Like, why not eat also in the kitchen? But somehow I think modernity has separated the kitchen space for us because we have to have a dining space. So yeah, there are a number of fascinations about the kitchen as a space. And then of course I started cooking on my own. Of course I can't follow recipes at all. It's more like intuitive, you know, it's like a chemistry lab for me. So I find stuff from the fridge and then I have to mix it with something and I think intuitively some flavor will work. And I wouldn't say it's always been a success, but I love cooking. So I guess maybe it came from me entering the space, engaging with women who I knew, of course, and then I extended it also to people who I would visit.
So I can say that it was your love for cooking. Also, you wanted to go inside that space and chat. So it was a combination of both.
I think so.
And it was at a very young age, no?
Yeah, maybe 9 or 10, 11, around that time.
By then, don't mind me asking, but by then did you hit your puberty?
No, I think it was a bit later, but yeah, why do you ask? But I'm just curious.
No, because I feel that as adolescent boys, they have a difficulty to understand their masculinity, and they're very sensitive. So, what would you say to them? You know?
Are you asking if is it a difficult journey to go into the kitchen? Maybe it is for a lot of young people, a lot of boys.
I kind of feel, because you know, when, my boys also, it's a different thing. I tell them that don't go to the kitchen, but I kind of feel that they are in this. They are going from being an adolescent to a man. You know, that whole journey of going towards manhood.
Yeah.
So they get lost. They don't understand. They are very sensitive. So that's why I'm trying to understand that. Did you hit your puberty by then, and did you try understanding? What made you go through all of that? 9-10 years, very young, no?
Yeah, but it makes you sensitive, right? Like, in the sense, I feel it's also part of manhood. Wouldn't you want your son to help you in the kitchen or be around? No.
I mean, see, I would wish somebody is there to help me.
Yeah.
No, because it's too tedious to go. It is so hot there, no AC, and also no everything I have to do. And your dada doesn't even like the cook to even cook. So that's why I have to do everything, you know. And then it's a headache. It's a menace.
Right.
But I would at times would want somebody to help me.
Yeah.
I normally take my daughter. I take her help. She's young, but I take her help.
Okay.
Boys, I allow them to go outside and play. So I'm trying to understand that what you were going through.
I used to see this actually with a lot of my maybe aunts or friends, mothers, where the boys were let loose. Like, it was okay for them to not come into this space. They didn't have to help. They didn't have to clean up. And yeah, with girls, it wasn't like they had to do it, but maybe not so much with my sister, but with my older cousins who were girls. You know, there was this implicit kind of, you know, why don't you learn this? Like, it's a skill that might be useful for you, or, you know, of some sort. But I found it strange. I'm like, why shouldn't boys be doing this? Why shouldn't they be in that space? And why shouldn't they? I mean, why is it so easy, even for women who need help and who'd like people around in that space, to say it's fine? If I have a son, he doesn't really have to do this in that space. So I find that odd. I find that thinking a bit odd.
But Deepak, because that is also society, no? I mean, we don't expect men to do a jhadu pocha. As you know, I told your dada never even touch the jhadu. So you know, that is also society.
But do you think they do a bad job of it? Like, would the men in your house do a bad job of it?
No, I never tried. No, I do everything on my own. I never tried, but I don't know if they would be doing the work in the correct manner. They would mess it up and go. So I also.
But I think they do that on purpose. I've seen a lot of my cousins do it on purpose.
So
like
that
they do a bad job of
so
cleaning.
that next time
or
you don't tell them
You don't
to
ask them, yeah. Like it's this pretense, like I don't have the skill to cook, or I don't have the skill to clean. It's not my domain. Don't ask me. So that's set very early, by both genders, no? Like there's this, both men and women do that to each other. Like this is mine and this is your domain. So I found those things very odd. Like I thought it would be nice to enter the other spaces and see what can come out of it.